mode.
Great morning, sales teams, and welcome to YOSM. My name's Emma Monroe, and I am the creator of your online sales manager. I'm really excited about our speaker today. The topics we're going to focus on today is following a sales process, talking to people, and distancing yourself from the negativity of your industry. Now, Anoop Anchal, our sales manager for Australia, will be interviewing Jason Mills today, who is a sales professional from Ray White in Maroochydore. Anoop, I will hand it over to you.
Thanks, Emma. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's session of YOSM. We have a great speaker on board. And something that everyone's pretty much going to get out of today is really how to handle that whole negative response when the whole industry is going through a bit of a downturn. So, you know, we're all in that part of sales where we sort of get knocked about all the time, and we sort of look for that, I guess, that little psychological edge or something that we can tell ourselves. So we have a very interesting speaker this morning, a gentleman by the name of Jason Mills. Jason is a sales professional at Ray White Maroochydore, and the funny thing is Jason's only been there for 18 months. So you may be going, okay, well, what knowledge and experience can Jason add? Well, Jason comes from a fresh new mind with looking at things in a different way, and has also spent 20 years in the Army. So this adds to a great mix of how to actually create a sales environment and a process that works. Now, what's really interesting about what Jason just mentioned to me as well is that Jason has used old school techniques and revamped them in a whole new environment, and it's working for him. So I'm really, really excited to hear about a couple of these processes. And please welcome Jason online. Jason, welcome to YOSM today.
Thanks, Snippet. Thanks for having me.
No problems at all. Now, Jason, can you give us a little bit of a background on yourself? Like, you know, the Army days are very interesting, and then getting into a sales environment. Can you give us a little bit of background on that?
Yeah, obviously 20 years in the Army is quite a career, and a fair shift from one career to another, because they're probably chalk and cheese really in terms of careers. But certainly 20 years in the Army, I don't look back and regret it. It was and encourage anybody that's sort of looking into that area to jump across and have a go, because it teaches you a lot of life skills as a young fella. But probably what I started to get frustrated in the Army was the lack of reward for effort. You put in a great deal of effort to achieve a good result. Don't get me wrong, the outcome was certainly something worthwhile, but the bottom line was that I didn't see a lot of reward for that effort. So I looked to an industry that you could get out and, you know, work as hard as you could and start to see reward for it, hence real estate.
And so, how did you make this transition from being quite regimented in a certain role to a sales environment, which is very cutthroat, and especially in real estate as well?
Well, I haven't actually made much of a transition really. There's still a lot of army in me, which is good. Probably because generally when we've been trained, and we've been trained very well. Our principal Dan Soden does an enormous job training us to a standard, and the Army has set me up well to stay in line with that training, I don't waver from it too much at all. He gives you the scope to be able to put your own spin on it, but certainly the transition, well, it's been quite seamless really, because you go from an industry that's regimented, come across, I've been taught a new role, which is similar to what you get in the Army, and then you just follow what you're told to do, I guess. So.
No, excellent. And I think what I'm really hearing there is that the discipline of the Army has actually taught you how to become very disciplined in the sales process, which you really do need if you want to kick some major goals.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's excellent. So now explain to me, so obviously one of the things that is of interest is that you've started to use a couple of the old school techniques that were done a number of years ago, which I am totally up to speed with, and I'm really glad to hear that you're using those, because one thing I feel in sales that we're losing is the fact of using some of the traditional old school methods. Can you explain to us what you're doing in your industry?
Yeah, well, the overall theme is to make sure that you talk to as many people as possible. It's simple, and you get the feeling. I guess that's a bit of insight that you have, if you get the feeling that you're not talking to many people, then you must be doing something wrong. But one of the things that I did to speak to those people in your target audience was obviously get out the old school door knocking. Although when you're door knocking a street for homes and you're predominantly looking for obviously sellers, but that's your target audience, you find a lot of tenants. But my theory is that you're talking to those people who are obviously talking to more people. You're getting to know your product as well in the area that you're focusing on. So yeah, pretty much door knocking and talking to as many people as possible is the old school setup that it is proving to be successful.
So what methods have you employed, I guess, in your mental aptitude and attitude to actually say, you know what, everyone else is sitting in the office hoping for the phone to ring, and everyone else is complaining about why the business isn't going where they want to go. But hold on, what I'm going to do is just going to, walk, beat the path and knock on some doors. What type of, you can go through your mental state that you've gone through to get to that stage.
It's pretty, you just, even before I came across to real estate, I don't think a single real estate agent had ever knocked on my door, and I'd owned a few properties, and I don't think it ever knocked on my door. And I know it's something that, that should have been done. So I felt to get out of the box, and I could see that nobody in the Sunshine Coast is doing it. And I felt that to get myself out of the box and be seen as somebody that is willing to get out in the rain, and I certainly door knocked in the rain with umbrellas, and just make sure I really do stick to my guns with, okay, I'm going to door knock that street today, and I'll have it scheduled into my diary to do it a certain day, and I'll look outside and it's pouring with rain, but I still get out there and do it.